Welcome to Quality Quarters, brought to you by the East London NHS Foundation Trust Quality Improvement Team. We call ourselves ELFT. This is a series of 15-minute videos, which is why we've called them Quality Quarters. Each video introduces a quality improvement topic or tool that can be used in the healthcare, but also other settings to support improvement work. They are designed to introduce the tool, explain why you would use it, but also help and guide you on how and when to use it within your context. You can find more resources for each tool on our microsite at qi.elft.nhs.uk. We hope you enjoy this quality quarter. Please do send any feedback by email to elft.qi@nhs.net. As part of our quality improvement work here at ELFT, we have developed a sequence of steps to guide improvers, whether teams or an individual, through QI projects from start to finish. These are the 5 key steps in improvement at ELFT: identifying a quality issue, understanding the problem, developing a strategy for change, testing and learning, and implementing the improvements. This quality quarter will review the Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle. The Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle fits in at the testing and learning part of the sequence of improvement. Like all the tools we talk about in our quality quarters, PDSAs can be used as part of a QI project or as part of any daily improvement work to help teams and individuals to better understand and improve a part of their system or activity. We encourage improvers to pick up these tools and try them out. So what is a PDSA? The Plan, Do, Study, Act PDSA cycle is shorthand for testing a change. By planning the change, trying it, observing the results, and then acting on what is learned, PDSA is a scientific method used for action-orientated learning. The Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle was developed from the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, named by Walter Shewhart. It originated from the Japanese engineering industry, where the cycle was used to prevent the reoccurrence of errors. In the 1980s, W.E. Deming, an engineer and statistician, adapted the PDCA cycle to the PDSA cycle to emphasize the need to study the results of testing. He described the cycle as a flow diagram for learning and for improvement of a product or of a process. The PDSA cycle is used as the action part of the model for improvement, but can also be used independently of the framework. For more information on the model for improvement, refer to our ELFT QI microsite. Anyone can use a PDSA cycle to test out a change in the workplace or even in your personal life. As with all parts of the sequence of improvement, a multidisciplinary team approach is vital. This is to ensure that you're capturing various perspectives of the problems and a range of ideas for improvement. At ELFT, service users and carers are crucial members of the multidisciplinary team to ensure their voice is heard and their views are represented. Why would we use PDSA to test, and why don't we just implement? Well, within a system, change is always challenging for both the workforce and the organization. Any changes made can impact on other areas within a complex system and not always produce the intended results. That's why instead of implementing change, it's important to first test a change. PDSA cycles empower staff to have a go and builds a culture of learning, removing the fear of failure. Using the PDSA approach offers a more structured, considered method and provides evidence for future cycles and an evolution of an idea. It is important that a PDSA cycle is not seen as a one-off event, but an iterative process where learning and understanding is gained and shared. Here is a test conducted recently in a clinical area. Here we demonstrate the process in which we use a PDSA cycle approach to test out if we could provide exercise sessions for service users on a ward. We first had to identify a problem and state it. Service users feeling bored on a ward, leading to reduced satisfaction or experience in their care. We then had to decide on a change idea to test. Provide 1 hour supervised exercise session of yoga per day. The next step of the PDSA cycle is to develop the plan. As part of our plan, we have developed our objective to understand if an hour of yoga a day is of interest to service users and helps relieve boredom. We then ask ourselves a set of questions. Would service users be interested in joining the sessions? Would it relieve boredom? And would it reduce irritability between service users? Then we made some predictions that we could refer to when we studied our test. We predict that all 5 service users invited to join the yoga session would join. We predict the service users would report that they felt less bored and that the mindfulness within the yoga sessions would help them relax. We then had to develop the specifics of the plan. So the who, the what, the where, how, etc. And importantly, the plan for data collection. So in this plan, the who is 5 service users and 1 healthcare assistant. The what, provide a 1-hour yoga session. And when, Thursday between 9 to 11 a.m. How, an interactive supervised group session. And the data we're collecting is the number of service users accepting invitations, also feedback from both service users and facilitators. It's important to note that our test was small scale, one session with 5 service users. Starting any test on a small scale limits risks and may be more acceptable to the people involved in the test. Then it's the exciting bit of carrying out the plan, but very importantly, documenting what happened. For our test, we found that the plan carried out on a day and time specified. 2 out of 5 service users attended. Service users reported to enjoy it and requested another session. The healthcare assistant enjoyed a break in normal duties and would like to conduct a further session. When you collect your data in real time, it's important to document successes, issues, and any unexpected occurrences. After we have carried out our test, we need to study the results. We complete our data analysis and compare to our original predictions and provide a concise summary to share the learning. This is an often neglected part of any change process, but crucial for informing our next steps. 2 service users attended. The remaining 3 were not keen to do the yoga but reported that Zumba would be preferable. The nurse in charge expressed that the time clashed with lunch and suggested testing another slot. Service users expressed a preference for evening when there is less to do. Service users reported that they felt much better after sessions and more relaxed. This helps us decide what we should keep and what we can change for our next test cycle. We will consider whether we will abandon this test and completely change our approach because it was so problematic but very valuable learning, or whether we adopt this test and implement with a view to spread. With the first test, neither of these are likely, and most of the time we will adapt this test for the next cycle, i.e., trying a new time slot in the evening, maintaining offer to 5 service users, testing a Zumba class, and lastly, advertising the classes in the run up to the session. Now, as we said at the beginning of the session, a PDSA cycle is not seen as a one-off event, but rather the start of an iterative process. Our first test cycle was one session for up to 5 service users. Our next test cycle will be a different type of class at a different time, but also marketing the session to open it up to additional delegates. So a test on a larger scale. Depending on the results of this second cycle, we will determine whether we have a third test cycle. Multiple cycles or rapid cycle testing as they are known will eventually lead to improvement. The benefits of using PDSA cycles are numerous. The key is to intentionally state our theory, why do we think the idea will work, and our prediction before going on to the test idea. Then we can come back together to reflect on what we learned. We can become a bit more scientific about experimenting in the workplace. It creates a culture of experimentation. So, in a nutshell, the PDSA cycle is a means to test out changes and build learning based on developing initial predictions for changes that may lead to improvement, testing these out and studying what happened. You can use PDSA cycles for individual testing or as a team. Each PDSA should ask specific questions and make predictions. Develop your plan in terms of who, what, where, when. Think about the data you will collect. See a PDSA cycle as the start of multiple cycles. Start small and scale up. So, let's run through some top tips. Through using this approach, we have found it's more useful and effective when you document and record as you go. Having a clear plan on how you are going to collect your data. Ensuring service users are involved in your approach and testing. Now, beware of planning paralysis. Just do it. So here are some things that you could do to incorporate PDSAs in your daily work, to just give it a go. How can we look at developing a protected screen break for 1 hour per day? Maybe thinking of meetings. What aspects of meetings could we improve? Focusing on one and trying out a PDSA. What about testing out a different time for team huddles? Testing out a new virtual platform with a peer. Now remember, you have to start small. Record your learning and give yourself the time to study the results. The list is endless, so go on and give it a go. Thank you for watching the PDSA Quality Quarter. If you would like to listen to more quality quarters, just head to our website, where you will find lots of videos on how to use more improvement tools. You can also find more details on a range of tools for improvement. We would like to thank Sonia Sparkles for the use of her wonderful illustration taken from the ELFT Illustrated QI Guide. For ELF staff, you can reach out to a QI coach in your directorate or contact the ELF QI department. We offer in-house introductory training in QI through regular virtual Pocket QI workshops, open to all trust staff, service users, and carers. Wishing you all the best in your improvement work from the ELF QI department. We look forward to seeing you again at another quality quarter.